Welcome to a very special edition of the CK Podcast, here live from the Basketball Zone Cowbell Kingdom YouTube channel. I'm your host, Leo Biaz, and today we have a very special guest. This guy does a little bit of everything for the country of Portugal, I would say. He is all over the map, covering basketball on all levels. My man, Ricardo Brito Reis. Man, you're a commentator for Sports TV Portugal. You have your own website. Borracha, Laranja, right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Man, talk about just yourself real fast. Introduce yourself and tell my audience how long you've covered Neemias and kind of where we can find and read and watch all your content.
Well, first of all, let me thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here and talk a little bit about Portuguese basketball and Neemias. Well, I started. I have a journalist career with almost 20 years. I played basketball when I was a kid, but that didn't went too well. I was a bench warmer, so I decided I should just
Don't lie.
leave it.
Hey, I heard you got a jump shot.
No. No, I just wanted to make behind the back passes, and so my coaches always send me to the last spot in the bench to clap my teammates. So that didn't work out, and so I decided to. When I went to college, I decided to go to journalism, and then everything happened naturally. I went to sports journalism. Decided to start my own website just to cover here Portuguese basketball. And then I had an invitation to join the Portuguese Basketball Federation. I work as their press officer. And now I work for Sport TV for the last 7 years. I am one of 6 commentators of NBA basketball here in Portugal. So I've been covering the game for quite a while.
Beautiful. That's what I love to hear, man. A great story. I also have a background in journalism, and I just love to see how people start from the bottom and they're making themselves, slowly but surely reach their goals and ambitions. And it seems like you're doing pretty well for yourself, man. So congratulations on that. But before we get into Neemias, huge shout out to our sponsor, Medici Sacramento. If any Portugal fan comes over from Portugal and wants to attend the Kings game, this restaurant is the best Italian pizza in all of Sacramento. It's right across from the Golden One Center, so I highly recommend Medici Sacramento. It's the closest thing to Italian pizza, man, because this is delicious. Cooked at 900 degrees. Highly recommend them, and a huge shout out to them for always supporting the Cowbell Kingdom platforms.
Hey Leo, when I go to Sacramento, you got to take me there.
I'm taking
Have
you
some
there.
pizzas.
I'm taking you there, and it's on me. I'm paying, my man. So it's
Okay.
my treat. It's my treat, Ricardo. Let's get this party moving. Neemias drafted second round to the Sacramento Kings, first player from Portugal, right? But before we get into right now, I kind of want to know a little bit more about what he was like as a kid, his upbringings. I'm actually reading the biography of Giannis right now that just came out, and I just read the prologue. I was so impressed by it, and just reading how his upbringing was, it makes so much sense why he plays with so much passion. But yeah, let's hear a little bit about Neemias.
Yeah, well, Neemias, when he was a kid, he liked to play soccer. You guys call it soccer. Here we call it football. Of course, you have American football.
I call it football.
Football. Yeah. He played soccer. He wanted to play soccer, but he was a very, very tall guy. And so some friends invited him to do a practice in a small club outside the Lisbon area. Lisbon is Portugal's capital. And he went there. He liked it. And so he started playing basketball when he was 10 years old. He was always the tallest guy on the team. but he couldn't run properly. He had some issues because he wasn't able to control his body. But there was a lot of potential in this kid that was very, very tall. He went to one club that is one of the most historic clubs here in Portugal, Barreirense. And he developed himself, and suddenly he started showing up in Portuguese national team, youth national teams. He fell in love with basketball. His older sister played basketball. Now his younger sister plays basketball, also 14 years old. When he was a little bit older, he went to one of the Portuguese top clubs, Benfica, for 1 year. He stayed in Benfica for 1 year because he wanted to. He had a problem with his teeth. He wanted to. He needed some kind of support in that department. So he went to Benfica and stayed in Benfica for 1 year. Had a major development in Benfica, and then they started having some contacts from universities, from American universities, and he decided to choose Utah State. But he's from a humble family. I don't say it's a very similar story as Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
Giannis used to help his parents selling stuff on the streets for tourists. Almost they didn't have money to eat. He and Thanasis share the same sneakers. Well, it's a different story here. Neemias is from a humble family also. But he was very dedicated to his craft. He went by foot to the gym every day, and he never quit. And lots of people told him that probably he wouldn't be able to play because he was a bit clumsy. But he always said he was going to play, and he was going to play high level. So
when did he have his growth spurt?
He was always tall. I remember when he was in Tallinn in the under 18 European Championship. He was, if I'm not mistaken, he was 6'7", I believe.
Holy smokes!
And then he continued to grow.
So he
now
grew up
playing
what, like guard, small forward, or was he always like the biggest guy and always playing center?
He was always the biggest guy.
Okay.
But this specific club that where he grew here in Lisbon, Barreirense, they always, and I think it's a European kind of thing. They teach players to do a little bit of everything. Versatility is the most important thing in the game. Kids can be tall when they are small, but they may never grow that much. So you don't know if he's going to play center when he becomes older, or maybe if he plays forward or guard. So everybody's got to do a little bit of everything. So he tried, he practiced individual technique, everything like every other guy. So it was all natural.
Beautiful. That's awesome to hear. Let's transition into Utah State. So how many offers did he have during that process, and why did he choose Utah State?
I believe he had 3 offers, and he decided Utah State for 2 reasons. First, there was already a Portuguese player playing in Utah State, Diogo Brito, he is now in Spain, playing in Spain professionally. And Diogo was a major reason why Neemias chose Utah State. The other reason was that the Utah State coaching staff always told him things that made him feel comfortable. And because he knew it was a big step for him. He was going alone to the United States of America. Of course, Diogo was there, the other Portuguese guy, to help him adapt. But recently he had an interview where he said the most difficult part in his career was the decision of leaving Portugal and go to the United States. And I believe the the things that the coaching staff led by Craig Smith, what they told him, I believe that's what made him decide that that was the right college for him.
So when did he learn how to speak English? Because he speaks it pretty well.
Yeah, well, here in Portugal, the last year he played here in Portugal before going to the United States. He played in Benfica, and in Benfica he was in the secondary team, the under 20 team, but he played with the big guys, with the main team. And the main team, you have American players. So in every practice, in every game, everybody speaks English, so everybody is in the same page. So I think that's where he started to speak English so fluently, and then going to Utah State, that he just perfected it.
Right, so let's transition into Utah State. He averaged 15 points, 10 rebounds, about 3.5 blocks. He was a monster. He went under the radar for the most part, I would say, during this whole draft process. How would you describe his career at Utah State?
Well, he knew he was going to not one of the big colleges in Division One. So he knew he would have to make an impact so that people would see him, because normally from Utah State you don't see lots of guys coming and shining. From Utah State, I believe Kawhi Leonard came out of Utah State, San Diego State. Andrew Bogut came from Mountain West. That's what I wanted to say. From Mountain West Conference, and he knows from in that conference people don't pay that much attention. So he had to shine in his first and second year. He had other players that were go-to guys. There was Sam Merrill, that he was a champion with the Milwaukee Bucks and just got traded to the Memphis Grizzlies. And Sam was the star of the team. But Neemias was the starting center, and having a guy, a 7-footer inside, just with so much attention around the basket, just opened the perimeter for shooters, and defensively, which is his value. Just knowing that you have an anchor like Neemias near the basket just made his teammates on the perimeter be more aggressive, because they know if they make a mistake, there's the big guy in the back that's going to erase their mistakes. So I think that started to push Utah State to a big defensive team, and Neemias was the face of that defense.
100%.
He had a small role in those first 2 years, even though he made some double-doubles. But of course, the blocks are his trademark. And in this last year, this third year, Sam Merrill was in the NBA, Diogo Brito was back in Europe, and so he had to become the go-to guy. Lots of freshmen. He was the most veteran guy. So and the whole system changed a bit. He got a lot more ball inside on the post. Had to make a lot more decisions, and that's where I believe the biggest improvement in that third year was decision making in the post, passing to the guys in the perimeter, because there was a lot of trap, there was a lot of 2-on-1, and so he developed a lot in that third year.
And that was my follow-up question is, we've seen those highlights on YouTube of his passing ability. Do you see that translating to the NBA level?
I don't know. I sincerely don't know. Because the NBA is evolving to limit the big guys' role a lot in the recent years. And if you are a guy like Jokic, you are versatile. You can shoot the three. You can put the dribble on the floor. You can do a lot of stuff. Neemias is more like a traditional center. He presents himself as a European kind of center, a guy that plays low post, back to the basket. Of course, he has a face-up game. He can shoot mid-range, but mainly he's working with the back to the basket. The ball comes inside, and then he makes a decision, go one-on-one, maybe pass the rock to the other side. And I don't know sincerely, I don't know. I don't see that kind of center utilization in the NBA right now. You have a lot of guys that I believe that are not that are undervalued in the NBA. You see, like big guys, big European guys like Jonas Valanciunas.
Right.
He comes to Europe to the Lithuanian national team, and he plays games of 20 points, 20 rebounds, but the ball always goes inside to start the offense. It's different. And now in the NBA, you have the ball is
Guards
always
hands.
in the ball handler's hands.
Right.
Guards are wings, and it doesn't go inside too much. So I don't know if his passing skills will be taken as an advantage, but he has that. He has that. So if a team wants to create an advantage by putting the ball in the post, he will take advantage because he can make good decisions.
My next question is, if well, he's on a two-way deal right now with the Kings,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's probably going to see a lot of time in Stockton with the Stockton Kings. I'm originally from Stockton, so I know the area pretty well. And sometimes, depending on who you are as a prospect, as a player, that could seem like a demotion for some players, and that could hurt their confidence, right? Oh, I'm going down to G League. I'm not getting run with the big team pretty much. If and when that happens to Neemias, do you see that affecting his confidence? Because basketball is about confidence, timing, and rhythm. Do you see that like affecting him, or is he strong mentally enough, and does he have a tight knit circle to where he has that support system and it'll get him through everything?
That won't affect him at all. He's ready for it because he was interviewed several times before being selected in the draft. And one of the questions most people ask him here in Portugal is, "What if you spend the first year probably in the Stockton in the G League,
Yep.
just bulking up, getting bigger and stronger, and getting some minutes, not being on the bench in the main team, just clapping your teammates and playing garbage time. If you have to go to the G League," and the first thing that comes out of his mouth with no hesitation is, "I'm ready for whatever the league brings me." So I'll take it. I'll take it. There has never been a Portuguese guy in the NBA. We are still all overwhelmed by this. And Neemias knows. And one thing he always said to me is the draft isn't the end of it. That's
Right.
not the
It's
end.
just the beginning.
It's just another footstep. It's
Yeah.
just one more. He has to continue to work every day to get better. He knows he has flaws in his game. He has to work. What he has to perfect to play the NBA game, and so he doesn't see it as something that undervalues him. He just knows he has to, and he knows the NBA is a league of opportunities. Suddenly, the Sacramento Kings have four centers with guaranteed contracts. So he knows he has to respect those veteran guys. He knows they are playing in the NBA, probably more ready than him. But he knows that one buyout and the guy goes away, one injury, and suddenly he has minutes in the team, and he has to be ready, and he will be ready.
Love hearing that, man. That gets me excited, man. And I know Kings fans are like, damn, like, yeah, that's the type of attitude. And that's what Vladdy really focused on, XGM, on character. And I feel like Monty is doing the same thing. Character matters, man. And again, always stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right? That's pretty much the mantra here with the Kings and with, I would say, most every NBA team, man. But how would you project his game just overall, just say in year one, year two, if he does get playing time? Because that first game at the California Classic, I was very critical of him. I was like, well, he's a large man, obviously 7-footer, with a lot of weight on him. He doesn't move that well, I would say, on the perimeter, and that's all 7-footers. That's not just him. That's not a knock on him. That's just most big guys. They're not Rashawn Holmes, right, where they can move Bam Adebayo. Those two guys are literally in their own league. They can switch onto guards, and I feel confident in them doing that. With Neemias, it's a little bit, okay, well, if he's going to play drop coverage, you have to have the right perimeter defenders around him to make him look good. And obviously the Kings have improved in that area, I would say. Last year they were the worst defensive team in NBA history. I would say every team needs a 7-footer with rim protection, right? But do you think that once he goes up against real competition like the elite guards and they put him in those switches, do you think he'll be able to handle those things?
I don't know. I don't know. I know he understands that's one thing that he has to improve. That's one area he has to improve. Of course, his defense is his calling card. It's what he has to offer to the league. He knows near the basket, no one is safe. He knows he intimidates everybody. Everybody changes their shooting dynamics to because they don't want to be blocked by Nimi. But he knows in the modern NBA, the NBA is a pick and roll league, so the guys are going to bring him outside. They're going to try to switch and put guards on him, and then they are going to try to drive. They'll try to drive around him or pass by him, and he knows he's not that fast, that quick. But there are a lot of examples in the league of 7-footers that play major roles. You see Rudy Gobert in Utah. He's a defensive anchor. And you see what happened in the Clippers playoff series. He was exposed, and they didn't have another center to take the guards on the perimeter, and they lost. But there is a place in the NBA for big guys. Probably if he stays in Sacramento, and you got Richaun Holmes and you got Nimi, you got two different options. Right. A guy that probably can handle the perimeter guys, and a guy that brings a big defensive presence like Nimi. So you can switch up the center spot and try to adjust to what the opposition is bringing. But he knows he has to work the perimeter defense.
100%. And guys like Rudy Gobert, like Brook Lopez, like those large centers, they're phenomenal during the regular season, right? I mean, he's Defensive Player of the Year. But in the playoffs, when you have 7 days to game plan for somebody, you get to expose everything, every weakness. Yeah. So that's where you don't get away with stuff like that. But my biggest, I guess, complaint for Rudy Gobert is that he's had 8+ years to work on his offensive game, and he doesn't have a push shot. He doesn't have a hook shot. That's my issue with him, and that could be something that a lot of just big guys who just depend on shot blocking, like that's not enough if you want to play in the playoffs. Do you think that his game offensively is, I would say, is it good enough right now? Is it far ahead enough to where you can see him being effective on that end of the floor?
I think he has a way to impact the offensive side of the floor. In his last year in Utah State, he was the go-to guy. That's why his numbers went rising. What we saw, the development we saw in Utah State with that coaching staff, we saw Nimi finishing with both hands around the rim, a running hook shot, mid-range, bank shot, whatever you wanted, he was doing it. And for example, you just said the push-up. Richaun Holmes is the guy that has that push-shot, that little floater inside the restricted area. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I noticed in not last night's game, but the previous game in Summer League, the final basket that Nimi scored was a push shot. And they said it, Richaun Holmes kind of shot. So he has that feel, he has that touch around the basket. So I think he can impact the game offensively. Of course, Summer League ball handlers want to showcase themselves. When they have pick and roll, they never get the ball to the big guy. So the big guy has to rebound the ball if he wants to do something.
Yeah.
I think Nimi. That's happening with Nimi. He's scoring when he gets offensive rebounds.
Right.
But if you have a set play, if you have a system that feeds the big guy, that big guy is going to eat because he can do it around the basket.
Well, I like to hear that, and I'm sure the opportunity will present itself, especially in Stockton, where they may want to slow it down just a little bit more, depending on what Bobby Jackson wants to do. But, I want to see that. For my own two eyes, can he finish with both, with both hands? You're telling me that he can. At this level, it's a little bit different because he's going up against the elite of the elite, where there's guys just like him with the same athletic ability, same weight, same strength. It's not like in college where you at times you're going to face, guys that won't make it to the league, that won't make it to Europe, and you're eating that, you're improving your stats from that perspective. But I'm very excited. Let's move on to Summer League. How would you grade his performances so far?
I think last night was his worst performance. He only played 14 minutes. He didn't play the fourth quarter. He just went in to take that free throw when Metu was ejected. But I don't know. I didn't see a lot of energy yesterday. I don't know if his ankle is 100% because he started the season or the summer league with an ankle soreness problem. So, but the first three games were good. I think he made an impact. He was the best box plus minus of the whole team in all three games. He impacted, especially the defensive side of the floor. Even though he didn't have too many blocks, he had one game where he had 3 blocks, all in the beginning of the game. But his presence in the paint just scared the guys away. So I think that's, and you said it, and I think that's what we've seen from the Kings in this summer league. A lot of focus on defense because they have that. They have that way of being one of the worst defensive teams in the league in the past. So they want to bring defense, and I think Nimi in the paint, Davion Mitchell on the perimeter, they're all trying to implement a defensive mentality on the team, and I think it shows. And I think Nimi, even though he doesn't have big numbers to show on the stat sheet in the end, he's been a very, very good defensive presence.
No, I forget which game it was, but he had a huge impact without having box score stats, and that's what I tell people. Can you make an impact, and can the other team fill you? And that game, it was the second to last game, I believe. You felt this guy on the floor because he was altering shots. He wasn't getting the shot block, I would say, but he was altering shots, changing shots, and that's super critical, man. Metu, I'm not sure if he'll play tomorrow because of, what.
No, I just saw he got suspended for one game, for the championship game, so he won't play.
There it is. So he's not going to play, which means that Nemi's going to get more touches. He's going to get more minutes. It's going to be more of him and Emmanuel Terry playing. Emmanuel Terry, very similar to Richaun Holmes, that type of energy, guards the perimeter. So I like that 1-2 punch there. Give me a final prediction for tomorrow. Does Nemi bring the championship home to Sacramento, man?
We are all rooting for that in this side of the ocean. We just wanted to. People are, of course, there's been a lot of playing around in social media. I know the Sacramento Kings have noticed the Portuguese impact on social media.
It's huge, yeah.
And now we are joking around here that Nimi gets to Sacramento and they probably get a title. It's the Nimi effect. So come on, bring that title to Sacramento.
I love it. I love it. Give me a final prediction on the stats tomorrow.
Well, I'll tell you what I would like to see. I'd like to see getting feed by guards on pick and roll, getting some action, some one-on-one on the post, getting some assists. And I really, really would like to see him be more physical on box outs and rebounding. I wanted to see a bit more of rebounding from him. Maybe a double-double. I'd love to see a double-double from Nimi with 2 or 3 blocks. Come on. I think that's what he can bring to the table every night, a double-double with multiple blocks. And so that would be something perfect to end this summer league with a championship.
That would be perfect. Now, I guess one last thing that just popped into my head. Do you think, obviously, he might feel differently, but do you think he would rather play big minutes in Stockton or pretty much not play any minutes but beyond the Kings?
We had a media availability session a few days, Portuguese journalists, and some questions were asked that touched that thing that you just asked me. And what he said is that he's ready for whatever.
Right.
Of course, he wants to play minutes. So
Makes sense.
being in the Stockton Kings, he's going to have more minutes than being in the Sacramento Kings.
Right.
But if he has an opportunity to play
Yeah.
for the Sacramento Kings, he knows the competition is going to be the best competition in the world. So he will soak and take advantage of every single thing. He's just a guy that keeps soaking information. I've talked with several coaches that coached him growing up, and they all said that you asked me before what's his biggest what's the strongest part of his game. I think mentally, I think this mentality is the strongest part of his game. He doesn't collapse mentally when things don't go right, don't go his way. He's always ready to. If he misses a shot, okay, he starts to run back. To go back on defense to impact the next possession. He's mentally very, very strong and very mature. I know he's 22, is one of the oldest guys in the draft, but he's very, very mature for his age. He knows exactly that he has to take lots of footsteps one at a time to get to where he wants to be. But and he always said that if he plays in the NBA, he probably plays not too many minutes, but he will be against tougher competition, so he will take advantage. If he plays in the G League, he will play more minutes. Okay, let's do reps, and get ready to, when the opportunity presents itself, to grab it with both hands.
Well, let's end it on that. That's a pretty good way to end it on, man. Thank you so much for all your time. Where can people find you on social media?
Well, on Twitter, R Brito Reis, so you can find me there. And here in Portugal, if any Portugal speaking people are listening, in Sapo 24, I write a column on the NBA weekly, so you can find me there also, and my website Borracha Laranja also.
There it is, y'all. Ricardo Brito Reis. Man.
Leo, thank you for the invitation again. Keep up the good work, man.
I appreciate you. We gotta have you on at least like every 3 weeks, man, because I'll be covering the Stockton Kings as well. Again, Stockton's home to me. I'll have people there covering them, and I can't wait to actually meet Nemi and develop that business, professional relationship with him, same way you have. And I wish him nothing but the best. And I hope he brings the city of Sacramento the second Summer League championship.
Yeah, let's hope it happens. Let's hope it happens, man.
All right, my man.
Great talking to you.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you very, very soon.
Yeah, thank you.